All right, welcome everybody. We are now on our session for our Investors Club from your home sold guaranteed realty here in Southern California. More specifically, all the way from San Gabriel, California. And myself, I'm in the Inland Empire, which is the east side Inland Empire in the Southern California as well. And today we want to help you, as we have done a couple of months ago, with understanding and go beyond just your first home. I'm sure that some of you that are visiting with us here today, you have purchased a home from us, and now that you are happily in your home, we want to tell you that there is more than just owning one home. And that's why we call it the Investors Club. We want to bring more value to your life, to your family, to your future, by letting you know that you can have more than one home, that it's possible for you to invest in something that is going to make a difference for the rest of your life. And to do that, of course, you will also need to understand some principles of investing. And last time I shared with you uh, a few concepts, and now I'm gonna give you another quick preview about how debts can destroy family. Okay? Believe me, if you bought a home and now you are like what we call house poor, you know what house poor means? House poor means that every month, at the end of the month, you pay your house, and yeah, you have a house, but then you don't have money left for anything else after paying your bills, your utilities, maybe because you bought another fancy car or whatever, or you have just put all your credit cards to the limit. That's not a good thing. That's going to destroy your family because it's going to create fights, it's going to create stress, separation, and maybe even divorce. Did you know that the number one cause for divorces is not uh, cheating, but it's actually financial problems. Okay, so let us help you with getting out of debt. Now, according to the Bible, whether you're a religious person or not, let me share with you something that even the Bible tells us about that, and that is that uh, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Which means when you have a debt, you are going to be servant to, you know, uh, always to the people who you borrow money. Now, the question is, you want to be debt free? Yeah, of course. Yes, you want to be debt free so that you can invest, right? So let me give you a quick overview of how you can do this. Let's say you have, I don't know, 5 or 6 debts. I want you to take the smallest debt first. Put all your debts together and get the small one. And what you're going to do is, let's say you owe $600 with $100 monthly payment. What I want you to do is, I want you to add another $100 to your monthly payment. Instead of paying 100, pay 200. All right. So the total debt of 200, if you do this, you're going to pay it in 3 months instead of 6. Okay. And yeah, in 3 months, you're going to be one debt less to pay. And now you need to celebrate, but not the way you think. Instead of saying, oh, I have extra money, what do I do? No, what you're going to do is, you're going to add that extra money that you were paying on your first debt number one, and you're going to add it to debt number two. Let's say debt number two is $1,600. Now you're going to add that payment from debt number one and add it to your debt number two. And
Andrew,
this debt,
hi, it's
let's say
Christy Ramirez Knowles with your Home Sold Guarantee Realty. How are
1600,
you?
let's say this is 1600. Now you are going to pay it in 4 months instead of 8 months. And in no time, now you're going to have debt number 2 out of the way. Yay! Now, what most people do when they have extra money, remember I told you last time, if you weren't here with me, let me tell you what poor people do when they have extra money. When poor people have extra money, they say, oh my God, I have extra money. What do I buy? Wrong question. Or number 2, where do I go? And then you go and and expend your money. Don't do that. Rich people have a different attitude. Rich people, when they have extra money, you know what they ask themselves? I have extra money. Where do I invest it? You see, that's the only difference between poor people and rich people. The questions they ask themselves is, how do I expend my money or how do I invest my money? Okay, so I want you to be having this mentality of what are you going to do with your money. So now let's go to debt number 3. This debt number 3, $3,000 with a $300 monthly payment. What you're going to do now is you're going to add what you were paying on debt number 1 and debt number 2, 400 added plus another $100 on top of that. So you can pay in 3.3 months instead of 10 months debt number 3. Boom. Debt number 3 is out of the way. Are you following me? This is very simple. Anybody can do this. Now let's move forward. Let's go to debt number 6. Maybe you bought a car. It's incredible. You know, the worst thing you can do when you need a car is having a loan. Do you know that? But what do you mean? Everybody takes a loan to buy a car. Yeah, but you shouldn't. That's my point. Nobody should take a loan to buy a car. You should pay it cash. But let's say you didn't know that, so you have this loan, a $400 monthly payment. Okay, what you're going to do, you're going to add your payment from debt number 5, which is $1,200, and you're going to add to your 400 regular monthly payment. Now you're going to pay 1,600 instead of just 400 of your total debt of about $13,000 on your car. And now you're going to pay your car in 8 months instead of 32 months. And now the car is yours. No more debt. Okay? In this example, we were analyzing 6 debts, started from the small one all the way to the highest. And now your original debts, if you pay the minimum, which is what most people do, unfortunately, but you should not do it. You do it the way we just taught you. If you do it the way just taught you, then you're going to pay it in 19 months instead of 18 months. And now you're going to be debt-free. Now you have money to save, to invest. Okay? Now you can have money to invest. Invest in yourself and have money in down payment for your additional houses, additional income property, because the principle is, instead of you getting into debt and paying somebody else's mortgage, paying somebody else's interest, you should be collecting money. You should have having someone else paying for your assets. Okay, so this is what we want to show you today. And now let me show you something really quick as well. And this is a principle of how to pay off your mortgage in 12.5 years, even if you have a 30-year mortgage loan. Can you do that? Yes, and without making double payments. Let me give you a quick example. By the way, to do this, you need a loan amortization calculator, okay? Let's take an example of a $200,000 loan at 4.25 interest rate. 360 months payment means 30 years, okay? On this loan, your monthly payment is $983.88, principal and interest, okay? When you calculate this, you're going to be paying a total of $354,196 on your $200,000 loan. $154,196 will be the interest you will be paying if you pay every month exactly what they tell you to do, and you add nothing to it. That's how much more interest you're going to pay at the end of the 30 years. Incredible, huh? A lot. That's a lot of interest. Now, if you have this table, you're going to see here in the column here that says how much it goes into principal on payment number one, how much goes into interest, and how much accumulated principal. And at the end of your first payment, this is how much your principal went down. Now, if you do this, what I'm going to tell you, if you add one principal amount on top of your regular monthly payment, so you, instead of making your regular monthly payment, you take the next month's principal amount only, not the interest, then you will be saving $706.38 of interest that you would owe on the following month if you don't pay it. Okay? So this is very simple, and it's not as complicated. All you need to do every month is add the following month principal only to your regular payment, and you will be saving that month's interest, because on mortgages, the interest is not due until the actual month comes in. In this case, for example, in April 1, on April 1, this monthly payment was due, and it was added to $77.50. Therefore, $706.38 were saved. It was not due because it was paid ahead of time. The following month, you are on payment number 4 instead of number 3. So on payment number 4, you add the principal of month number 5, and you follow through in that way. Now, let me give you a quick adding up of year number 1. If you have followed this, you will have saved $3,500 on interest. On year number 2, you would have saved $4,100. On the number 4, year number 4, $4,000, and on year number 5, $3,900. During the first 5 years, if you follow these steps, you could have saved almost $20,000 in interest. Okay? Not only that, but on year number 5, you will be on payment number 48. How many months is 48 into a year? So you will be like ahead, way ahead of time. And if you follow these steps, you will be paying your mortgage in 12.5 years, and your actually interest rate will be half because you're paying ahead of time. So if you have a 4% interest rate, your interest rate will be 2. And if you have a 2%, your interest rate will be 1%. Anyways, that was a quick principles for you. Now, let me have you some people that we have invited today to share with us some of the principles that you can do when you are able to save some money. Number 1, from getting out of debt, and number 2, paying off your mortgage faster so you can have more equity, so you can have to invest in another property. Okay? So this is very important that you understand some of these principles. So otherwise, there is no way, nobody's going to give you money, right? So, and sometimes from what you work every day, it's not going to go too high unless you get a very big promotion on your work, on your job. Okay? So I have invited our friend Jason today to give us some examples of how you can actually purchase some investment properties and how these investment properties with positive cash flow can give you uh, that financial security, not just for you, but for your family, and have it as a legacy for the rest of your, kids and grandkids and whoever else. So, my friend Jason, welcome to with us today. I want you to please share with us some of the principles that you use when you meet with people. I know you're one of us here as agents that help people buying their homes, but your specific concentration is helping people buy investment homes, right?
Right.
So tell us how that works a little bit from the beginning, what people should do and how this is a good thing to have.
Okay. Well, good afternoon or evening, everyone. Um, well, I'm gonna take you to the next step. Like you were talking about, trying to pay down your mortgage so you have equity in the house. And I work with people that actually have a lot of equity in the house. And now I'm kind of reversing what you just said and ask them to take the money out of the house, do a cash out refinance, take the equity out and or unlock your equity and use it to build wealth in real estate. So most of the investment or most of the investor that I work with will have about 20% to 25% to buy a property in the high desert. And the price range go from between 350 to $450,000 depending on their budget. So I'm gonna share with you one property as an example that I pulled from the multiple listing system in Apple Valley, and then I'll share the number with you. So Hugo, am I able to share screen?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay, Hugo, this is a property that just listed 6 days ago in Apple Valley, and the listing price is 362,000, but it's kind of below market. The market price right now in Apple Valley is about $190 per square foot, and this is 178. So most likely they will have multiple offer, and they're gonna go higher than the price they list right here. So it is a 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 2,035 square feet on 0.41 acres. So it's about maybe 20,000 square feet. Um, and if you buy this property, you will be able to rent it for $2,500 a month. And I'm gonna show an example of what the number looks like. Okay.
2,500 a month rent.
Yes, rent, that's right.
Wow, yeah. So it's a 4 bedroom, 3 bath. I think that's enough room for a lot of people there.
Okay, so this is how the math look like. I did the calculation. If you put 25% down, you should be able to get the interest rate at around 3.375%. And the principal and interest payment will be $1,203.61 a month. And property tax is about 1.25% of the purchase price. So it come out to be about $378.12. And the insurance for this house is approximately $70 a month. And if you manage this property yourself, then you can take out the management fee, then your return on investment will be higher. It will be around 10% if you manage this property yourself. But if you need a management company to manage it, they usually charge 8%. So 8% is about $200 you have to pay every month to the management company to collect your rent or take care of issue that the property may have. And with my formula is assuming you use the principal payment to offset your maintenance expense. Because right here, if you plug the number into the amortizing schedule, uh, I didn't really do it, so I don't know what the principal payment is. Should be around $300. And that will equate to about $3,600 a month, using that to offset your um, maintenance expense or deferred maintenance that you have to do. So even if somebody is managing this, you're still getting 8% return on investment. Okay, so to buy this house, you need $96,000. That's like 25% plus about $5,000 in closing costs, and you'll be making 8% return on investment the first year. Second year, it will become higher because you actually get back 7,000 something dollar after the first year, and your initial investment is lower. That's why the number keep on increasing the longer you hold it, and eventually you will get all your initial investment back. Then your return on investment should be 100% because you don't have any more initial investment in it anymore after you recover it all. So that's one of the example I have for you, Hugo. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, this is great. So this is on this particular home. Um, the question that would probably people have is, okay, so how much down payment do I need to purchase an investment home?
Well, most investment property, you need at least 20% of the purchase price. So there's no first, it's not a first time home buyer anymore. So there's no 3% or 5% down payment. You really need to have 20% minimum. And that's why when you buy your own home first and you live in it for a certain amount of years, you should be able to build up the equity. You don't even need to like pay it down fast, because usually in the long run, the house price will appreciate and you automatically build up equity inside your house. And once you have that, then you can look into unlocking the equity from your house and use it to build wealth buying real estate, which is investment property. And most of my clients will start out with one, and then once their investment property also appreciate, then they can also take money out of the investment property and buy more properties too. And that's how you leverage others people money to make money with the money that you earn from the equity in the house and the investment property that you buy.
This is very important, and I want to repeat what you said in just one word. You may have money sitting in your home right now, and that's what it's called equity. Okay, the value that your home has grown, and you may not know that. Okay, so you can use that equity to pull it up and invest it in a second property. Just think about this. If you had one house who grew in value, and now you have equity because you've been paying off for one side, and because prices have going up, it has grown twice, right? In two ways, by paying off your principal and by increase in value. So now you have this money. I have a millionaire friend, investor friend, who one time about what 25 years ago, when I went to listen to him, he said this: every time you walk into your house and you have a lot of equity, it's like you're walking and stepping on money that is doing nothing. Pretty much. It's like you're stepping on all this money that is doing nothing for you. And back then we were still using checks, not like electronic today, everything electronic. Back then in the days, he said, you should have this. You should have two checkbooks. Back then, I pulled this from my I don't know, somewhere I had it. But you should have two checks. He said, one is your personal checking account, and the other one should be your equity check account. Every time you see something like what Jason saw right now, a good deal below market, you just write a check for it. Don't think it twice. Just write a check. If it's a good deal, buy it. That's what my friend said back then. I listened to him, and today I can only say thank you because I am reaping the benefits of doing that. So don't feel afraid to do that. It's because now you have two assets growing equity. And from these two assets growing equity, you can multiply it into more assets, three, and then four, and then five. As Jason just said, you start with one, right?
Yes.
Start with one.
Hmm.
And once you feel how it works and it does well, now you're going to be ready for the second one. Is there any other way, Jason, that you have come across from people to have money to invest in buying a second or third home?
Well, you're gonna have to save uh, the capital to invest. If you do not have a house or you just bought your house, then you just have to don't do like what you mentioned earlier. When you have money, you don't look at, okay, what am I gonna buy now or where am I gonna go? Instead, save it, put it in some kind of asset. Like for me, what I do is either invest in the stock market or you invest in something that is what I call a non-correlated asset. And that is something you put in, it only goes up and it will never go down. So like in 2008 and 2009, if you have your money in the stock market or you have your money in real estate, both of those asset class went down. And if it went down, most likely you are losing money and you not gonna have money to take advantage of the opportunity that came during that time when the house price crashed 50 to 70%. So you have to put your money in something that is non-correlated, so it always go up and you have money there ready to go. And you just have to pull the trigger when you see something like that happen. And another important thing is you really have to make sure you have 6 months to a year of reserve so you can handle the economic downturn, because a lot of people will ruin their credit during that time because they are living paycheck to paycheck. And if that happened to your credit, then you won't be able to buy anything because your credit is not there. So make sure you have reserve and have the fund ready to go. And it just takes time. It's not going to happen immediately if you just bought the house, because it takes time. But you just have to set a goal. Okay, now I bought my first home, and the next one I'm going to buy is going to be an investment property. And you just set that goal. It may take 5 to 10 years, but when that time comes, you have to take action.
Yeah, you know what? When I first heard my friend that I mentioned to you, Jason, it
Mhm.
was interesting because I thought, oh my God, I think I'm too late. You know, 20, 21 years later, it wasn't too late. Look, because this is what you need to think. It's never too late. You just need to start. Okay, you just need to start right now. You need to make a decision. I need to stop buying things I don't need. Okay, because right now we live in a society of consumer mentality. Everybody just wants to buy the latest and greatest gadget, and that's not a good thing. All right, you need to have the mentality of how can I invest so that eventually I can have more. And we are trying to help you here with these principles. Okay. Now there is another way that you can do this too. And by the way, I'm just going to give you a quick preview of in a couple of months we're going to have a people here that specializes in how to use your retirement money, yes, your retirement money, to buy more assets that is going to make a greater return with the real estate than if you just leave it there where it is doing nothing much. Because retirement money is good. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good, but it's not the best investments, okay? Because they're very, I don't know, regulated, and they grow very small, very little. So the people that we're going to bring in, they're attorneys. So they know exactly what they're doing. They know the law. And they're going to tell us how we can even use retirement money to purchase assets, purchase our second home. Maybe you have 30,000, 40,000. Some people have 100, $200,000 sitting in their retirement account. And believe me, we're going to also learn how we can do this, how we can uh, get ahead, and not just live like everybody else, uh, paycheck to paycheck, or being a house poor. You after you pay your house, you have nothing else. You have no vacations. You have nowhere to go. So, Jason, you have any other principle that you can share with us on investing? On Give us some of the stories of your own personal experience. How did you start it, and where you're at today? As much as you can. You don't have to if you don't want. Get into your personal stuff. But in general, I know you deal with a lot of people that are doing well, even family members.
Yes, well, how I started is I bought my first home when I was 30 years old. So I started out late too. But, that was like 1999. And so when the housing crash happened, that was like 2008. So about 9 years later, after I owned my house, um, the housing crash happened. And at the time, I happened to be in the San Gabriel Valley, so my house dropped too, but it only dropped 30%, and the Inland Empire and the High Desert dropped 70%. So I had I still have equity in my house. So what I did was I did a cash out refinance and took out 139,000, and I used that money and make a down payment and bought 3 houses in Victorville. And at that time, it was dirt cheap. It's $125,000 a house.
Hmm.
And I ran them all out. I was making 18% return on investment on those 3 properties. And now, 10 years later, it almost tripled. And on top of that, I'm making positive cash flow from it. And yeah, it turned out to be good. And I teach the same principle to my investors, the people that own houses here in the San Gabriel Valley that have a lot of equity. Like you said, they're stepping on money that they cannot do anything with because it's all locked up in the house. So I show them how to do a cash out refinance, take the money and go buy investment property. And even after they take out the money with the new mortgage payment, with the positive cash flow that I show them how to invest, they were able to offset their mortgage. So artificially, they pay up their house without paying it off because they don't have that expense anymore. The positive cash flow they are taking in is more than enough to offset their mortgage. And then eventually, when the rent start going up in the years that they own it, then they have extra money from the investment to do other things like travel, buy a nicer car, whatever, and don't have to pay for it themselves. Basically, the tenant pay for it. And that's the beautiful thing. Like,
I like what you say. My tenant is paying for my new car.
yes, yeah. So that's why some people said, I'm gonna buy a car with cash. I think that's like the craziest idea because with that cash, $50,000, you take it and go buy an investment property and generate $500 positive income. Somebody gonna pay for your car forever. You can lease a brand new nice car for $500 a month, and you never have to pay for it once you make the right investment, right?
There you go. There you go. That's another couple of things that come to mind where when it comes to investment. And you mentioned one of them. If you said if you use a management company or if you do it yourself. So let me pick your brain a little more in that direction, because some people say, I don't know, if I buy, an investment home, how do I find renters? What do I have to do? How is that process? What about if I get bad people that will destroy my house? That's the number one complaint I hear from people. When you talk about investment homes, or if they destroy my house, it's going to be more expensive. I'd rather not do it. Can you tell us a little bit how can we avoid that?
Okay, it's not 100% avoidable. If you get ready to become a landlord, you expect someday you're gonna evict somebody, someday one of your tenants gonna destroy your house, and sometimes they're not gonna pay you, and then you're gonna get all stressed out. But there's a way to mitigate it. The most important thing is you need to learn how to screen the tenant correctly. And even you hire property management company to screen the tenant for you, most of them don't really take their time to find the right tenant for you. They just find somebody that meet your requirement and they just put them in. And then a lot of time you'll run into issue. What I learned from my experience for this 10 years is I screen the tenant myself. And my requirement is very high. I require that they make at least 3 months the rent payment that I'm renting them for. For example, if I rent it for $2,500, I need their gross income to be 7,500. If they don't make that, then they are not qualified to rent the house. The other thing is you need to call the previous landlords and ask them questions about the tenant that's trying to rent your house. And I have run into a lot of time the tenant said, my landlord is not willing to answer any question. I don't have a good relationship with the landlord. Then you shouldn't rent it to that tenant because they are hiding something from you. And if they list the previous landlord, if they have two landlords, call both of them and ask them how they were paying them, because I also found out some of the tenant that applying to rent use their friend as their previous landlord, and you call them and everything they said is so perfect, then you know something is not right, because there's no perfect tenant. They always have some issue, right? And you may want to ask your real estate agent to check who the owner is, because we have access to that. And if it doesn't match, then you need to find out, are they management company? Why are they putting their name as a landlord? And that's some of the things that you can do before you accept the tenant. And make sure you check their credit and background, and make sure that they don't have, if you see a lot of recent collection like phone bills, gas bill, electric bill, if they cannot even pay their utilities, then you don't want to take that tenant. And like some management company have a requirement, if their credit score is below 550, you don't even want to talk to them, because people that have bad credit, usually they're not responsible, and you're just gonna have a lot of issue. The best is get somebody that's not perfect, because if they're perfect, if they have a 700 something score and make good income, then they're not gonna be renting your house. They'll buy their own house. They have some issue. So as long as they are not like recent utility collection, and if you see an eviction, then don't even think about renting to them, because I learned my lessons before that trying to be a good people, I mean, to be a good person that gives some people a second chance, and then I end up evicting them in 2 months, because whatever they tell me is all BS, because after that they're not paying me too. And now I'm all stressed out, because every month by the 5th, I have to text them and they sometimes don't respond. And now I just serve them a 3-day notice after that and get them out as quick as I can. But
Mm.
try to screen them and not to have the issue in the first place. But if you do, you need to take action and just evict the person immediately. Yeah.
One question I ask on my rental properties when someone applies, and I need to call the previous landlord. This is what I ask them, and you want to take a note if you want.
Okay.
This is what I say. Hello, Mr. Landlord. If uh, John Doe, who's applying for my apartment, wanted to come back to you, would you rent him this your property again? If they say yes, of course I know that they are fine.
Hmm.
But if they hesitate, or if they give me the runaround, or if they just can't answer that question, then I know there is a problem,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. But
So
sometimes the landlord want to get rid of their tenant so bad, and they will say good thing just to get rid of them too. And then
that's true. That's
it
true.
happens. Yeah.
That's true as well. Yes, yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, you do your best.
Hmm.
You try to check everything that you can. And yes, their credit's not going to be perfect. That's what they're renting.
Hmm.
And if they miss a couple of things here and there, that's fine. But the number one and two, as you mentioned, that are red flags are eviction and utility payments.
Yes.
Because if you're not paying your house and you're not paying your utilities, how are you going to survive? I mean, that's like the most important things that you have to have. And if you're not responsible with that, then it's just going to be problems.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you have a medical bill, you have an emergency, you couldn't pay. I understand that. I can
Hmm.
understand that, because sometimes, things like that could happen in anybody. And I
Hmm.
don't wish for anybody to get into that situation. So I can understand that.
Hmm.
But when it comes to houses, yeah, I have the same rule as you, Jason. I
Hmm.
ask the first question, anybody that's going to even start the application, I said, I'm going to give you this application, but before you get started, before you even pay your $50 screening fee, so you don't waste your time and your money, have you ever been evicted? And whatever you answer me, I'm going to find out. But I want you to tell me
Hmm.
right now, have you ever been evicted? And if they say yes, okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to even consider you. Don't waste your time. So that's the rule number one. And number two, yeah, the utility bills and so forth. But yeah, so quick question on Section 8. If you can quickly explain what Section 8 is and what are your thoughts about it?
Well, Section 8 is a government program that they need to apply for, and most of the time they have to be on a waiting list for a long time before they even like get accepted. And the government will pay uh roughly 80%, depending on their income. Right now, it's based on income too. The more money they make, the less the government subsidize, and the government always pay their portion on time. By the fifth, you will have that money in your account. But the tenant portion, sometimes they are late too. Even they have to pay very little amount, and they still pay late. And these people will like for apartment and stuff like that is perfect because you don't need too much maintenance for the apartment. Um, but yeah, if you rent it to a Section 8 tenant, you'll get at least 80% of your rent, and you don't have to worry about that part. But the other 20%, you still might have issues with them. But now Section 8 is enforcing if they don't pay their portion, and you notify Section 8, they will terminate their contract. So they are much better now. Before it was like they would destroy your house and Section 8 wouldn't do anything about it. But now they are enforcing their guideline, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, they keep checking back. They keep asking. They keep wanting feedback from the landlord. I have one. I've been lucky to have a very wonderful Section 8 person who's always on time, and sometimes she pays me 3 months ahead, just in case I
Oh,
don't want
okay.
to expend my money. That's
Hmm.
good. That's great.
Yes.
Better that way, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Than and she keeps that place better than I gave it to her.
Okay. That's good. It's good
That's
too.
good. Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Hmm.
Because I
And
have
I
heard the other way around. I have heard that sometimes some people just don't take care of your place. But yeah, this is good. Well, Jason, I really appreciate all your help. I know you are one of the most experienced in property management and helping clients acquire their investment homes. So, uh, whoever is listening to us right now, here at Your Home Sold Guaranteed, we not only help people buying their first home, we want to go beyond that. We want to help you be an investor, create your wealth, your family wealth, so that you can have not just for yourself, but for your entire family. Uh, give a legacy of owning real estate, because real estate, despite of the very few downs that have happened, continues to be the best investment. And just really quick, during the meltdown that we have in 2007 and 2008, even those people that bought at the height, today they're even better. So even that, right? If they stick together and they didn't panic and sold, they're with a lot of equity right now that they can even those people can continue to invest. So yeah, real estate continues to be in the long term, with even with this huge problem that we had, even with that, continues to be the best investment for everyone. So anytime that you need more help, here at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, you can find help. You can call Jason. Why don't you provide your phone number where they can contact you?
Yes, my cell phone number is area code 626-672-5473. You can call me anytime, and I'll be more than happy to sit down one-on-one and go over your whole situation and see if investing in real estate is the right thing for you to do at this time. If not, then just be patient. The day will come when you have enough money, and opportunity always come in the future. You just have to be ready to take it. If not, it just goes by and you will miss the boat.
There you go. Yes, and you can call me too. Yeah, I'm here in the Inland Empire, 909-750-0222. My name is Hugo, and I really thank you for taking the time and listen to what we had to share for you today. And we hope that you can as well uh, take advantage of this great opportunity in real estate in increasing your wealth for you and your family. Thank you very much for listening. Your Home Sold Guaranteed. This is Hugo, 909-750-0222. Have a wonderful rest of the day.